Okay. Show me.
Hi there guys, welcome back to the Dusty Sheet channel. Thank you very much for tuning in for another video about this here radio, the FlySky PL18 PALADIN. And if you are a subscriber of my channel, you might have seen videos about this radio. I recently did a full review of this radio, and that video turned out to be a 45-minute video. And trust me, I could have easily done a 2-hour video about this radio. Let's all be happy I didn't. However, you might be interested in certain aspects of this radio. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting up that video into a few smaller portions. And in this video I'm gonna basically do an unboxing. Maybe you are simply interested to see what comes with this radio. So yeah, this video will be what the title says, an unboxing of this video. In this video you will see what comes with this FlySky PL18 PALADIN. Here we go. So when you order the PALADIN PL18 from FlySky, you will receive it in this rather understated box, as most current FlySky radios come in black boxes. This is a sturdy box, but it also came in an extra outer box. So what I should state at this point is that it depends on where you actually buy the PALADIN radio, what you will get. See, some retailers will sell the radio with one receiver, some will sell it with 2 receivers, some will sell it with a wireless charger, and some will not. Mine came from Banggood, and mine came with 2 receivers and a wireless charger. But check out the sales page before ordering. Maybe Banggood will sell it with 1 charger as well, or maybe without a wireless charger. Again, be mindful of what you are actually ordering. Some retailers will, well, sell different configurations. Okay, when you slide it open, you will quickly find out that it doesn't fit in your studio. Yeah, it almost fits in my studio. So this is also common for all FlySky radios of late. At least their higher end radios. A nice diagram of your new radio. Very, very nice. And underneath that you got the radio with some stick protectors, foam stick protectors, excellent, and a screen and switch protector over here. I do, as you can see here, I have the wireless charger over there, some accessories, and after taking the radio out I've got a few more accessories over here. So the radio is definitely well packaged. Again, it came in a sturdy box and an extra outer box, and as you can see it's all packaged in plastic. So yeah, DHL will really have to go to town to damage your radio, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna take everything out of the box and show you what you actually get. So the radio comes with this charger, a wireless charger, and it's very unusual for a radio to come with a wireless charger, right? To be honest, I simply charge the radio via USB, which is also very convenient. I'd say that a wireless charger such as this would mostly be useful in a commercial setting. For instance, if the drone operators return to the office at the end of the day and then simply have to put their radios on the chargers and be done with it, right? So that they don't forget to charge them. Very convenient. And to that I should also add that I rarely actually charge the radio. Once in a week maybe. The screen doesn't use a whole lot of current. I think that's the main reason why I don't have to charge it often. I actually, and that's funny, I actually use this charger more for this action camera, which can also obviously be charged wirelessly, than the radio itself. You also get these 2 rubber alternate grips. So yeah, these, as you can hopefully see, are curved, whereas the stock grips are flat. And yeah, this might be more comfortable. I'll probably put those on. I haven't so far. I actually do like the radio to be flat and thin. But yeah, I might give this a try. And yeah, it's nice that you get alternate grips, of course. Now, if you thought that wireless charger was above and beyond, or maybe weird, there's more. The radio comes with 2 spare switches. But you could also see these as alternate. See, this is a 3-position switch and this is a 2-position switch. If for any reason you'd want to replace one of the switches in your radio, say one of the switches in the radio is a 3-position switch and you want that to be a 2-position or the other way around, you can simply swap those out. But again, you can also see those as spare switches. I don't think I've ever seen a radio come with spare switches. Also, L and S, these are long and short springs. And I guess the springs that are in the radio are medium length. So if you find the spring tension to be very loose or very hard, well, you can swap out these springs. And even with the medium ones that are already in the radio, you can adjust those. But yeah, if the adjustment range isn't big enough for you, you can swap out the springs with longer ones or shorter ones. Very, very nice. And you also get alternate stick ends. Now these are actually the stock ones, the ones that came on the radio, the black ones. And these are fine, but these aren't adjustable in length. And the ones I have on the radio now are adjustable in length. And you get a USB cable, and regrettably it's a micro USB cable, not a USB-C, which it should have been. But oh well, you can use this cable to charge the radio and to transfer firmware onto the radio. And at this moment there's no software to back up models, but there will be. So with this cable you can also back up and restore and maybe change models on your computer. Well, at least back up and restore models. And the last 2 things that came with my radio were 2 receivers. Again, your mileage may vary, and check out again the sales page from where you buy this radio. Mine came with 2 receivers, the FTR-10, which is, I guess, intended to be used in airplanes, a 10-channel receiver. It also has S-Bus, and I'll have a separate video on that receiver. I'll now have a link up here to my video about that receiver. It also came with an FTR-10S receiver, which is a very small receiver, as you can see. It is meant for multi-rotors, drones. And both of these receivers are full range. And when I say full range, I mean kilometers, up to 4 kilometers, I'd say. Not at ground level, but if you fly your airplane or drone, let's say 50 meters up, you should be able to get a decent range up to 4 kilometers. At least that's what FlySky says. And finally, here is the star of the show, the FlySky Paladin PL18. First of all, hardware wise, the body of this transmitter is mostly plastic, I think, but what you see here is a slab over here. This piece is aluminum, this piece here is aluminum, this piece here is aluminum, and the gimbals themselves are completely aluminum. So this faceplate is aluminum and the gimbal structure itself is aluminum. And yeah, again, the rest of the radio is made out of plastic. Over here we see 2 power buttons, and you do need to press them both to both power the radio on like so, or power the radio down. You can instantly hear that the radio has a speaker over here for the sound effects, but also for voice feedback, telemetry and such. Now, personally, I would have preferred a simple mechanical switch, but this is what radios are like these days, right? Yeah, so again, I very much prefer a simple mechanical switch. Oh well. Then we have 3 rotary dials. potentiometers, and these can be used for any channel or feature you'd want. All of them have an audible center, very easily heard. The speaker is quite loud, and I don't even have it set to the highest level. But okay, so not a friction center, not a friction center, not a friction center. These are all identical, and I've already told FlySky that I think that at least one of them should be a 6-position switch for flight modes, for instance. There's no switch like that on the radio, and obviously you can set that up with a combination of switches and knobs and such if you'd want to, but I think at least one rotary dial with a 6-position encoding would be very useful. You tell me what you think, by the way. I'd be interested. Okay, then we've got all kinds of trim switches, as you can see, and those, well, in general they are used for trimming your sticks, but you can assign other features to them if you'd want to, and you've got over here as well assignable trim switches, more than enough. Regrettably, you can't do cross trimming yet. And if you don't know what cross trimming is, you'd use this trim for this stick, for instance. Very beneficial. I know that FlySky will have that feature in a future firmware, but okay, so at this moment it does not. Then you've got a lanyard hook, and the radio is very, very well balanced. As you can hopefully see, I've picked it up on this lanyard hook. The radio lifts up completely horizontally. It does not have a tendency to fall towards you, which would be awful. That's the last thing you'd want if you have your radio on a strip and have the radio fall towards you, and then, well, what would happen then is you'd accidentally go full throttle, right? So it's, again, you don't need a repositioning hook. This lanyard hook is at the right position. Then we have 2 sticks, as you can see, and again these are the alternate sticks, and this color is kind of a nod to FlySky radios of the past. Pretty much all FlySky radios have these purplish colored sticks, and this is a bit of a more serious radio, right? So this stick color, meh, but I think it's a nice nod to their heritage, so to speak. Then we've got this light bar over here. You can't change the sequence. You see here it rolls through all colors basically, as you can tell, and the major function of that is to let you know that the radio is still on. After a while the screen has now dimmed, and this is the only way for you to know that the radio is still on. And I kinda assume that FlySky will make that configurable. I don't really need that to cycle through colors or anything. Oh well. Maybe you could make that, set that up to show different colors and different flight modes. Oh well. Okay, then there's all kinds of switches and knobs, obviously. We've got over here 2-position switch, 3-position switch, 3-position switch, 3-position switch, 2-position switch, momentary switch. Then there's this 2-position switch, which will be a press-in switch, so to speak, but basically it's a 2-position switch. There's an identical one over here, and like I mentioned before, there's well, trim switches over here. Then there's a slider switch on either side of the radio with an audible center, and you can access those sliders from the front and the back of the radio, as you can tell. Ideal. These work very, very nicely. The speaker level is again more than loud enough, even if you're outdoors. So, audible. and yeah, these simply work. They have exactly the right amount of friction, not too much, not too little. Then we've got this screen over here, which is a color touch screen. And in my radio it works flawlessly. I very much enjoy using the radio with this touch screen. There's one downside to this screen. It is almost unusable in direct sunlight. You do get this sun shield with the radio, which is plasticky. That's what it is. I actually kinda refuse to use it. I mean, this radio feels very well made. It feels industrial in quality, and then we've got this floppy plastic sun shield. The FlySky should really come up with something better than this. It does work, but floppy plastic sun shield. It has no place on this radio in my humble opinion. Then this is the rear of the radio with nice rubber grips, and these are the stock grips. As you can tell, these are completely flat, and the alternate grips have a curve to them. And my hands are pretty big, so probably those will be a little more comfortable to me, even though I'm never bothered by the shape of the radio. Okay, so you might have seen other videos on this radio in which this aluminum plate wasn't present. I think those reviewers had pre-production models, and in one of the reviews I saw, this module came out a little too easy. The reviewer was playing with this button. It's shielded by this plate now, but there's a button over here, and if you press it, this module comes out, and that's not really something you'd want, especially not during flight, because this module is actually the transmitter. Even though the antenna of the radio are in this part over here, this is the actual module, the transmitter. And it's replaceable. So yeah, FlySky added this aluminum plate to prevent you from accidentally ejecting the module. And my radio didn't come with an external module adapter. There is one available, basically the same one as for the Nirvana radio. You can see one of the screw holes over here for that external module. So for instance, the Crossfire module you can use in this radio, and it's natively supported. The FlySky module is not supported. Figure that. Yeah, okay. You also see these rubber thingies, and you can take those out to get to the adjustment screws. You can adjust the tension of the sticks without taking the radio apart via these holes over here. Finally, there are a couple more things on this radio at the top, and I hope it's visible for you. Over here we've got an expansion slot, over here, hope it's visible, and that's an expansion slot for an Bluetooth module. It is an optional module, and I assume that you'd be able to use that Bluetooth module for wireless training. So you can connect two of these radios wirelessly. We'll see how that works out once that module comes available. For as far as I know, it's not available yet. Then there's a likewise access hatch over here, and that has the USB port for simulator training or firmware updates or model backups. And this is a micro USB, and it should obviously have been a USB-C connector. I really don't know why this isn't a USB-C connector. And we've got a headphone jack, and that's probably for normal legacy trainer purposes. I might actually try that. Okay, even though this is not a how-to video, I want to show you a couple of things of the user interface. This is, in case you didn't realize that yet, this isn't OpenTX. It is, well, FlySky's self-made operating system for this radio. And that has pros and cons. If you are familiar with OpenTX, this is different. I am very familiar with OpenTX. To me, this user interface, this firmware, this software is easy to understand. I've set up, let's see, a couple of multi-rotors, simple ones and complex ones, and a couple of airplanes, also simple ones, and gliders with landing gears and flaps and such. It so far was all pretty simple, basically. Is there a learning curve to this firmware, this software? Yes, obviously. That goes for any operating system, for any radio. And I think that for people that are new to this radio, or even maybe new to the hobby, this software is pretty easy to understand and far more intuitive than OpenTX. Does that mean that it's better than OpenTX? No, it's simply different. OpenTX is more flexible, this is more intuitive and easier to get into. Now you have already seen all these pictograms, right, for features and setups. You can change the order of all these pictograms. So yeah, you can have the most important ones show up first and then, well, the least important ones at the end. You can even, let me actually show you, in models you can say custom main menu. So the main menu, that collection of pictograms, depends on the model you're in. Which makes sense, right? You don't want a flaps function in your multi-rotor setup. Let me see, even exponential, for instance, you wouldn't want in a multi-rotor setup. Or ailerons, what? Flaps, spoilers. You want none of that in, but I am now looking at the setup of a glider. So in this custom main menu, I do want exponential, and as you can see there are checkboxes. You can enable or disable all those pictograms for the main menu, and you can reorder them. As you can see, I've got the display servos as my first option, and if I want to move that down, I click, well, move down or move up, right? And that's the first feature I want in all my setups, so that I can check if all the sticks and all my switches have the right setup. Right? Now, I am still relatively new to this radio, but I had no trouble at all setting up flaps, as you can see on this slider on the right. And I've even gone as far as to mix in elevator. If you are into airplanes, you know what I mean. If you extend the flaps downwards, you want a bit of down elevator as well. But for my first flights, especially, I've set that mix up on a switch. This switch over here, 2-position switch, governs whether that mix is active or not. As you can hopefully see, the elevator doesn't move if I change the flaps now. Hope that's visible. However, if I engage that mix with this knob, like so, now the elevator moves when I change the flaps position. So that's, yeah, that was pretty easy to do. Can I show you how I did that? Yeah, again, it's not a how-to this video, but I've got one mix set up, one linear mix, I think. Yeah, it's this one, linear mix 1, from knob VRE, which is a slider on the right, to elevator. And it's now off, as you can hopefully see. It's a bit hard to see, probably. It's red on black, but with the knob pressed inwards, that mix is off. Now it's on. I hope that's visible. Pretty easy. So I hope that gave you some good information in a shorter format on this PL18 from FlySky. If you are left with questions, hit me up a comment down below. I'll be happy to answer you. Maybe you would want to see that longer video. I'll have a link to it up here. Catch you on the next video. Bye bye.